Hello, fellow travelers and explorers, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I will share my experience on a recent Delta One flight from Atlanta to Lagos, Nigeria. So let's get into it. I was taking a solo trip from Minneapolis to Lagos, Nigeria, with the layover in Atlanta, and the Atlanta to Lagos segment of the trip was in Delta One, Delta's business class cabin. We were going to be flying on this Airbus A330-200, and I was somewhat disappointed with the welcome onto the plane. No one greeted you by name, and there just wasn't that warm welcome I experienced on my last business class flight on Qatar Airways. The purser did come later to my seat to introduce herself and acknowledge my pre-flight meal order. The Delta One cabin on this airplane was laid out in a 1-2-1 configuration with all forward-facing seats. Waiting on my seat was a large Delta One pillow, slippers, a bottle of water, amenity bag by Missoni, and headphones. Shortly after settling in my seat, I was offered a choice of orange juice or sparkling wine for my welcome drink. Wheels Up was at 5:48 p.m. for our 10-hour 47-minute flight to Lagos. A wet towel was handed out, but curiously it seemed to be almost dry with little moisture. Not sure what happened with that one. Soon, my tray table was covered with a white tablecloth and I was offered a drink of my choice along with warm nuts. I got an Irish cream on ice and some water to start. I settled in and started watching the Gladiator 2 movie, which I had yet to see. Meal service began shortly with a starter consisting of herb-marinated shrimp, mixed greens, tomato bisque soup, along with warm bread and butter. It tasted good. This was followed by my pre-ordered main meal of honey suya glazed chicken thigh with coconut basmati rice, roasted plantains, and harissa-spiced collard greens. This was good too. I finished off supper with an ice cream topped with cherries, graham crackers, and hot fudge. Overall, my meal was very good. Now let's do a quick seat tour. The tray table is tucked into the side and releases with the push of a button and can then be unfolded to make it bigger. The infotainment screen is stowed and releases with the push of a button also. This system is dated, the resolution was not great, and the touchscreen was very poorly responsive and glitchy. Sometimes you press play and the screen responds by forwarding your screen. The remote control is tucked beside the screen and releases with the push of a button. Next to the remote you have your seat controls. There was a deep footwell to stretch your legs when it's time to sleep. There were individual vents and reading lights above your head. The amenity kit was a dark blue Missoni leather bag and contained a pair of socks, earplugs, eye mask, lip balm, hand cream, toothbrush, toothpaste, and a Delta branded pen. The bathrooms in this Delta One cabin were very small and tight, probably the same size or even smaller than the ones in economy. I got a few hours of sleep, and about 2 hours left on our flight, I tried to go and use the bathroom. First, there was a long line of people waiting to use the bathrooms. Secondly, the bathroom was a mess. It looked like a public bathroom at a public park. The entire floor was wet and it was frankly messy. Clearly, the crew was not on top of keeping it clean. Breakfast was banana bread French toast with blueberry banana compote and maple butter. It was delicious. Soon, we started our descent into Lagos, where we touched down at 9:19 a.m. local time. My final thoughts on this Delta One flight from Atlanta to Lagos? Overall, I was not impressed. The welcome onto the plane was lukewarm. The food was good and probably the best part of my experience. The infotainment system was old and the touchscreen was glitchy and very poorly responsive. The bathroom was embarrassingly small, and the crew did a poor job of keeping them clean, especially towards the end of the flight when there was more bathroom traffic. For the cost of this flight, Delta should provide a newer plane with a better infotainment system and more spacious bathrooms, and the crew could do a better job keeping the bathrooms clean. Personally, I am unlikely to fly Delta One to Lagos again unless the equipment is upgraded. As always, thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos.